illustration has always been my tradition, or illustration has always been my means of making art. As a kid, I would doodle. When I got to school, I would draw. And now here at NDSU, I became an illustrator. I'm a stickler for traditional means. While most other illustrators have moved on to the digital process, I stand firm with ink and Bristol. There's a certain tactile satisfaction that I get from that process. That, and I'm just kind of stubborn to change. And one of my favorite aspects of illustration is character design. What character design is taking a figurative drawing and changing it over time, changing elements and taking those aspects you like about the drawing and bring it into the next step. And character design is the body of my work here today. So what is the land of Abizail? This is an idea I've had in my head since childhood, essentially. In the 5th grade, whenever I'd play with my Legos, I'd mix my Star Wars with my ninjas and create these strange futuristic fantasy characters that I would then draw in a sketchbook. And then I'd make stories for them. And as I grew and my drawing evolved and I was exposed to more types of media and storytelling, so too did these characters. But I kind of got stuck in the wheel of just designing characters, and I had nothing to show. Because with character design, it's an important step, but you just keep going up the same staircase, you know? There's no top. So I decided to use this opportunity to share my world that I've been making and get some outside perspective. When I started this process, it was a struggle. I had first done all my drawings on this large scroll, but my intent with what was being read kind of got mixed up and muddled. Because with the history of scrolls as a literal narrative device got mixed up with my idea of having this as a presentation of characters. So after careful consideration, I decided to cut them out and physically put them into the world. What you see here today is the land of Abizail, the island in which the setting of my world is in. In this island are characters. This is a geographical map of where these empires and factions live within my world. An area I'd like to point out here are these guys here. It's a fantasy setting, so I'd like to take these fantasy tropes and give them a little bit of a spin. These examples, I love dwarfs. Dwarfs are like one of my favorite things in any fantasy setting. But most traditional depictions are Scandinavian or Nordic inspired. But I took my love of history and I looked at influences of Arabia, Persia, and made these characters here. The other part of my process was, since I'm working traditionally, I have a very limited color palette. So I chose orange for them because I thought it would contrast well with the other race of dwarves here, because they have blue as their major color. That contrast of colors shows they have conflict in the world and in the story. However, they both have green in their identity as well, to show that they have that common heritage of being the dwarfs factions in my world. So Charlie, you ask, when can I read the first issue of this great story that's being worked on? Well, the next step in my artistic journey, we kind of taking a step back. I've always called myself an illustrator, but I'm not much of an author. So I'm working on ways to tell a short story, either through zines or maybe a few page comics. And that's sort of my next goal with this. These drawings will be expanded into a series of tales exploring ideas of identity, destiny, and one's purpose.